Hi everyone and welcome to SkillCorner's latest data release, expected possession value. Expected possession value captures the probability of scoring of each team at any given time in the game. Understanding how players, through their actions on the ball, influence this probability opens up for really interesting use cases. From a scouting and recruitment perspective, we can finally identify who are the players that have the biggest impact on the game. And from a match analysis and research and development perspective, it's become easier to investigate the most valuable game situations. Now let's see EPV in action. When a player receives a ball, the probability of scoring of his team and the opposition is recorded. At the end, on the possession, we can see the influence the player itself has had on the probability of scoring. The same logic applies when a pass is executed and received. Now, I'm quite sure you've heard about EPV before, so what's different in SkillCorner's model? Common data providers basically rely on static images to create and deliver their values. This obviously misses key contextual informations and doesn't really reflect the dynamic nature of the game. SkillCorners solve these issues by bringing in the power of tracking data. So from this static image, we move into a real game scenario. So for example, we know that before regaining the ball, our team was sitting in a low block and the opposition was managing the tempo in the final third in a finish phase. After regain, we are allowed to run in transition, and again, we move from the purely static image into a dynamic and continuous stream of information, capturing all of the players' speed and direction. This allows us to understand, or our model to understand, that we are in a really dangerous situation. In this case, a freebie flea. All of the process basically move what's considered a good pass in common EPV models into an elite pass, a top 1% pass, according to SkillCorner's value. Now it's clear that the same pass in a same location, it's really different when happening, for example, against an organized defense or in transition. Also, the new model allows us to give the proper value to actions that are not by default progressive. Switches of play, backward passes, and so on. What we actually deliver in terms of aggregated information is the following. 3 metrics split by type of action, possession, pass, or on-ball involvement, as well as impact level. The first one is APV baseline, which identifies the value of a player's routine action. The second one is APV peak, which captures the value of a player's most impactful actions. And the third one is APV average, an expression of a player's average behavior. We have decided to go with this split because it allows for the differentiation among those players who provide fairly highly valuable routine actions against those other players who are less consistent but are able to provide a limited number of super impactful actions. Now let's see an example of how these aggregates work. Here we have the wide attackers, Big 5 leagues 25-26, and the main performance question is understanding how much value they deliver and how they do it. Is it through driving the ball? Is it through passing the ball? On the y-axis we have possession APV, and on the x-axis we have pass APV. In the top left quadrant we have players who are really good at driving the ball. Nico Williams, Hassan are here. In the bottom right, we have great passers, Eriksson, Baturina. In the top right quadrant, we actually have the players who really stand out here. Jeremy Doku, Yohan Diomande, and Lamine Yamal stayed in this position. If you want to go a bit deeper and further in your analysis, you can access our dynamic events, our raw events. Here is a study on the APL midfielders for the 25-26 season. The main question here is, how do we differentiate midfielders who take more risks on the ball and possibly deliver higher value? The size of each circle actually indicates the amount of possessions relative to the sample. So here we have players in the top left quadrant who tend to prefer safe passes and possibly deliver less value when completing one. And on the bottom right quadrant, we have the players who are willing to take more risks but deliver more dangerous passes. Bruno Fernandez here is an example. So once again, thanks for your attention and do not hesitate to reach out to discover more about our EPV release.